Welcome to Israel Now. I'm Katrina Szish.
And I'm Bob Brooks, where we, along with our team broadcasting in Israel, highlight the latest news coming from our strongest ally in the Middle East.
In this special, we'll journey into the heart of Israel, talking to local entrepreneurs and religious leaders, while also exploring the area's rich history, nightlife, and Israeli cuisine.
But first, it was a day 2 years ago in the making and an historic step for Middle East peace.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Hamas releasing 20 living hostages as part of this historic deal. They got to reunite with their families after more than 2 years being held in unimaginable, horrendous conditions. The terror group holding these innocent hostages in underground tunnels. Some are kept in cages, barely had any food or water. The crowd in Hostage Square thanking President Trump.
Thank you, Trump! Thank you, Trump! Thank you, Trump! Thank you, Trump! Thank you.
President Trump went to the Knesset in Israel to speak. He was given a standing ovation by Israel's parliament. Here's some of what the president told the members.
Over the past 2 years, I've met many of the families of the Israelis taken hostage and those that were taken hostage. Unbelievable. I've looked into their eyes. I've seen the worst nightmares of their suffering, but I've also seen something else, the beautiful love of the people, the love of people, frankly, that hold things together, the love that gives you the courage to carry on through thousands of years of persecution and repression and to emerge with the heart of David. The story of fierce Israeli resolve and triumph since October 7th should be proof to the entire world that those who seek to destroy this nation are doomed to bitter failure. The state of Israel is strong and it will live and thrive forever.
Top Israeli officials praising President Trump for his accomplishments.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
We will rally speakers and presidents of parliaments from around the world to submit your candidacy for the Nobel Prize, Peace Prize next year. There is no one more deserving than you, President Trump. No one.
President Trump then went to Egypt to sign this peace deal. Here's what he told world leaders.
From this moment forward, we can build a region that's strong and stable and prosperous and united in rejecting the path of terror once and for all. We want to get rid of the terror and get on to other things. There are many other things in life that are so good.
Israelis are ecstatic with the return of the living hostages. Ahead of President Trump's visit, the largest American flag in the Middle East was raised in the Binyamin Regional Council.
Our Israel correspondent Jody Cohen, who is broadcasting from Israel, spoke to residents about this historic week.
I'm here in Hostages Square, now renamed Freed Square, because the 20 living hostages are back home in Israel. And I spoke with people here about how they're feeling.
So it's a very emotional day, and we're very grateful for President Trump as a God messenger for us today. Thank you.
It's been 2 years since we felt like this, and a huge thank you to everyone who's worked on this, contributed, to President Trump. Thank you.
To be able to see the rest of our hostages come home, both those alive and those unfortunately deceased. And we're all together. I'm an American, but I'm here together standing with all of the Israelis, just counting down the seconds until everybody returns.
President Trump, thank you so much for everything you did to bring the hostages home. I remember when I went with the families to your inauguration, and you promised you will bring everyone and you will not rest until everyone is home. And now you will able to keep that promise. So thank you so much.
And joining us now is Szish Bedrosian, spokeswoman of foreign media for the office of Benjamin Netanyahu. Szish, thanks so much for joining us here. A very, very eventful week. A lot of things went very well. A lot of things didn't go exactly as planned. your reflections on everything we've seen so far.
It's hard to imagine that this amount of history was all in 1 week's time. Feels like forever ago because there have been incredible celebrations, but there's also been, of course, this ongoing push from Israel to get the remaining hostages out. You're looking on your screen right now at these incredible reunifications between hostages and their families. These have really brought so much joy, so much comfort, and the closing of a 2-year circle for so many of these families who have waited for more than 730 days to get their loved ones back. And it's a promise Prime Minister Netanyahu has made since day one, since October 7th, to get all of our hostages out. And he managed to get all 20 of our living hostages out. So far, we have gotten 9 bodies of our hostages out, and we are waiting for 19 more. But these reunifications, they meant so much to us. And you guys, I actually was with the Prime Minister just the other day in Bellinson Hospital, where he met 5 of these released hostages. He sat with these men in their rooms, surrounded by their families, listening to their stories, looking into their eyes, understanding how they survived. Hearing the conditions that they were held in, and he listened to each one of their words, about 20 to 30-minute conversations with each one of these hostages. Because, like I said, this was a commitment he made from the beginning. It's a commitment he will follow through until the end.
So, I want to talk about what we're seeing in the news right now when it comes to Hamas in the Gaza Strip, murdering civilians there, anyone that opposes them or their reign, and how Israel is keeping an eye on that.
Yeah, it's absolutely horrific to see these videos of people, just to paint the picture for your viewers here, people blindfolded on their knees being shot in the back of the head as there are swarms of people watching this horrific violence. It is just a clear indication to the world of what Israel has been dealing with for 2 years now, the barbaric behavior of a group like this. Look what they're doing to their own people. And so many of us here in Israel are scratching our heads because where is the outrage? People here in Israel are outraged that this is happening, right? Hamas, once again, showing their true colors of who they really are, not caring about anyone's life, not even their own civilians, not their own people of Palestinians, but the world. Where is the world? They've been calling for a ceasefire. They've been calling and trying to advocate for Palestinians. Here are Palestinians being murdered and executed in the streets of Gaza, and no one is out there advocating for them. Of course, the hypocrisy does not surprise us. But this, like I said, shows the brutality of Hamas, a terror organization that's still holding 19 of our hostages' bodies that we are demanding to be brought back to the state of Israel, as it is all, of course, agreed in this plan that President Trump put forward.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, as you said, absolutely no respect for human life on the part of those terrorists. We, of course, know President Trump really standing behind your boss, the Prime Minister, and also behind Israel, saying, listen, if Hamas continues to kill people in Gaza, which was not the deal, we will have no choice but to go in and kill them. Again, the president has been very clear about that from day one. But in terms of the Prime Minister, I know you said you met with him the other day. At what point, Szish, does he work with President Trump to say, okay, enough is enough. We've given this a little bit of wiggle room, so to speak. And you know what? All bets are off. We're going to take out Hamas.
Look, well, Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump are putting united pressure on Hamas, the terror organization, waiting for them to fulfill their side of the agreement. We understand that Hamas can find these bodies if they want to. Getting these bodies back is of utmost importance to the Prime Minister and these families. Can you imagine, just imagine a group of people holding dead bodies inside of an enclave? It's so inhumane. It's actually even hard to say that sentence, holding onto bodies.
Well, we certainly hope that, of course, those bodies will be returned. We know President Trump feels very confident they will be found and they will come home to their families. And of course, we are hoping for that as well. And again, let's focus on the positive this week. The hostages are home. Szish Bedrosian, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you both. Thanks.
Okay, still ahead on Israel Now. A son whose mother was released by Hamas 2 years ago reflects on that day.
Welcome back to Israel Now. The images of hostages reuniting with their families brought many, I would say, pretty much everybody who saw it to tears.
Absolutely. This past week, an Israeli whose mother was taken by Hamas and released 2 years ago reflected on that and what these families are now feeling.
Noam Sagi joins us now this morning. Noam, I mean, first off, you went through this a couple of years ago and you watched it happen again. I mean, what was that like for you to watch the reunion of those hostages with their families?
You know, it's crazy how many emotions can come into one pinpoint of moment when everything just explode. We were over you know, the joy and then the tears and the relief. It was just absolutely crazy for us. It's almost like reliving the experience ourselves. Nobody going through, from my mother from the other side, from us, you know, on that side. Absolutely. I don't think, you know, I'm a psychotherapist. My life is about managing emotions and helping people with emotions. Nothing prepare you for that. It's way more than what I ever experienced. And we experienced that yesterday again.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So powerful.
Because no one, as you said, you can't prepare for that because no one in Israel could have prepared for what happened on October 7th, 2023. How did your mom react yesterday? It must have been extremely emotional for her to see those final hostages returned.
Of course, you know, she have four people from our community came back. And when I say our community, it's my mother community. I was just born and grew up in Kibbutz Nir Oz. And we have 78 people from the kibbutz who were kidnapped on the 7th of October. Yesterday, the last live 4 came back. We're still waiting for 5 bodies to arrive. And for her, it was almost like really in the personal story of Sylvia Cuneo and 2 of her boys and Einav Tzangalker and her son. So it was very, very personal. She was with them on the phone and she got through, you know, I saw that we almost like need to managing it because it was not just joy. It was a lot of loss that I somehow incorporate into all that. And we just had to, we were together all day yesterday watching it. And she was with the mother of Ariel and David who came out yesterday on the phone. And just felt like she can do the little thing that help her to help others. But, you know, she went through so much. It's a lot to take.
Yeah.
It's been nearly 2 years since your mother was held and released. And knowing that pain and the anguish of the hostages, what their families were going through. I mean, while there was probably so much positive feelings yesterday, this also had to be a difficult time of reliving some of what she went through.
You know, the first and the most important thing, they are back and they are hugged by people who love them and wants the best for them. But I'm telling you, you know, the little things, just to know that you can go to the toilet because you want to and no one needs, you don't need to ask for permission, that if you're hungry, you can eat and that you can think, what is it that you want to eat, that you can see a daylight, that you can see a tree, that you can meet someone. All these things, it's almost like something you need to relive and relearn, and they are not automatic, even though for us it's so obvious. For them, it's a very different experience. It's almost like, is it real?
All right, Noam, thank you for joining us. All my best to you, your family, and to all the hostage families who are reunited this morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Still ahead on Israel Now, despite a ceasefire in effect, there are still fiery protests happening. So what really were these ceasefire protests all about?
Welcome back to Israel Now. For more than 2 years, we've seen countless protests calling for ceasefire in Gaza.
So now that it has happened, you'd think there would be marches celebrating this major accomplishment, but nope, nothing.
No. Actually, these so-called activists took over a Pennsylvania airport loudspeaker this week.
Netanyahu and Trump. Turkish hacker Cyber Islam was here. Telegramtional Cyber Islam. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine.
Well, an airport spokesman said it was an unauthorized user, but it really makes you wonder what they really actually wanted this entire time.
It does. It really does. Joining us now, Ari Ackerman, who's an entrepreneur and partner of the Miami Marlins baseball team. Ari, it's a pleasure to have you in studio here and see you in person to talk about all this. So we know you've been a proponent for Israel, support for them, and you would think all these protesters would be celebrating, right?
Exactly.
The peace deal is done.
Yeah.
War is supposed to have stopped.
Right.
Though we've seen some actions by Hamas that aren't so good. Here, talk about that.
How pathetic is this world, right? Or these ceasefire people, I should say. They protest consistently about ceasefire now, all these celebrities. Miss Rachel, if you know her, and all the, Jennifer Lawrence and all
Mark
the people.
Ruffalo,
Mark
he's a
Ruffalo,
big one,
the
yeah.
600 people that signed the ceasefire for now from the actors and stuff like that, and nothing, not a word from them.
Nothing
Now
about
that there
a
is a ceasefire. Yet on the Israeli side, you saw celebrations over the ceasefire. They were celebrating in the streets over the ceasefire. What does that say to you? Does it say maybe one side wanted a ceasefire and the other side didn't, and maybe they really wanted something else? To me, it does.
Yeah, it's interesting. Bob and I were talking about this earlier, the fact that now that Hamas, of course, is, I'll say, kind of puffing up their chests, and they are actually killing now their own people in Gaza. Where is the outrage from the progressive leftists about this attack on humanity?
Complete silence.
Mum's the word.
Complete silence. Newsmax, I'm glad you guys are covering that because I don't see it anywhere else in the media. And, this is an outrage. They are taking over the streets again, Hamas. I know Donald Trump said today, no, not anymore.
He said
killing
he
those
killed
people,
them
we're going to
if they
kill
keep it
you.
up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank God he said that because it's part of the ceasefire deal. They have to disarm. They can't have an active Hamas still in Gaza and have a ceasefire for any potential.
You would think with the public executions and going viral, there would be outrage from these protesters. Oh my God, you're killing civilians. That's human life.
You're killing your own people.
Yes,
killing
but
your
you
own
don't
people.
hear anything about that.
And where the ceasefire people, they're all silent about, their Palestinians getting killed, the people that they wanted to protect all these years, these last 2 years, and especially the last few months when they were so vocal.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Yeah. New York City's next potential mayor.
Oh, please, I know. I'm holding my breath.
You're going to tell Zoran Mamdani. All right. He posted this on October 7th, Ari. 2 years ago, today, Hamas carried out a horrific war crime, killing more than 1,100 Israelis, kidnapping 250 more in the aftermath. Of that, Netanyahu launched a genocidal war. He goes on. Mamdani even says pro-Israel Democrats not welcome in the party. What do you think about that kind of rhetoric from maybe the leader, potentially, of the biggest city in the United States?
Yeah, I mean, you were born and raised in New York City. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Born and raised in New York, we've had some great mayors. Bloomberg, Giuliani was a great mayor in his time. And this would be the worst mayor in the history of New York City. A danger not only to New York, but the United States of America, based on what could happen next. Mamdani gets elected in the largest Jewish population in the country. And what does that say about Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or any other cities who are they going to elect next if this can happen in New York City? It is an absolute travesty. Everybody needs to get out and vote against Mamdani.
Well, that's what I was wondering. I mean, again, not to get too New York-centric here, but let's just start with this as a test case, especially with the extremely large Jewish population, as you mentioned, here in New York City. A lot of the polls we're seeing out there now say, Mamdani is leading, all of these things, but there are probably so many people who are Jewish, who are Orthodox, who certainly aren't part of those polls. Do you think we're going to see a groundswell of Jewish Mamdani, I would say anti-Mamdani voters come out on Election Day?
Well, we're working on it. I'm posting it on my Instagram, and a lot of people are doing it as well. I mean, because we need it. We need everybody to show up to vote. Last mayoral election, 30% of the voters who could vote did vote.
Yeah,
if that number goes up even a little bit, the apathetic, and Mamdani can lose. He's obviously up in the polls right now, but you have to rally around one candidate. I think that's Andrew Cuomo in order to defeat Mamdani. He was on the news, and he was asked repeatedly, and then he claims, I have no interest in Hamas. Meanwhile, he's posted basically pro-Hamas propaganda for the last few years.
Right, and does not consider Hamas a terrorist group. Even in that quote we started with, he said a war crime or a war attack. No, it wasn't. It was a terrorist attack.
By the way, by using the war crime words, he's basically trying to say that there was something happening on October 6th when there wasn't. This war started on October 7th because Hamas attacked Israel.
That's right.
That was not a war crime. There was no war going on. It was an act of terrorism and murder and raping by these Hamas terrorists.
Unequivocally. All right, we're going to leave it there. Ari Ackerman, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us here on set. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
In other news, it's one of the biggest religious sites for Christians in Israel.
Our correspondent Jody Cohen, who is broadcasting from Israel, visited the site where Jesus was baptized.
This is Yardenit, the site where Jesus himself was baptized. So people come here from all over the world to visit this site, especially Christians. We've seen a Catholic group, evangelicals here. They come from all over the world to follow in the footsteps of Christ. People come and get baptized. They come and fill up bottles of water, of the holy water, to take back home with them as a memory of the time, once in a lifetime opportunity when they themselves were baptized too.
Único, magnífico, muito especial estar aqui. She has peace inside, and she's very thankful for the place, for everything that she can be here.
This is very emotional to be here in the Holy Land and do it.
Oh, it's something special.
This is really an emotional place. We've seen tears, we've seen singing, we've seen hugging, we've seen onlookers getting a tear in their eye as well, just to see the joy in people's faces as they're baptized.
There's some
Good
happy
stuff
people.
there. Yeah,
I love seeing all those
certainly.
smiles.
I'm sure it feels very holy there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Pure joy. It's nice to see that. Some good news after all.
Like to see it. All right, guess what? That does it for Israel Now. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for watching.
All right, we will see you next time. And remember, this program is brought to you by La Palm.